If you haven't been watching the cover up on Blaze TV, you really need to. This is episode 5. This, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, I think this is probably the deepest investigation into the corruption of COVID that's been done.
I definitely think so, and it's my unhealthy obsession with the subject.
Well, we've got to. I mean, we're like this on the Russiagate thing. We're on it with COVID. If people don't pay, we are encouraging them to go further next time because these are real crimes. And this one, what is episode 5? This one has Matt Taibbi in it.
Yeah,
right?
Matt Taibbi. It's called Muckraker, appropriately, and it's not just about the Twitter files. It actually follows his entire career as a cub reporter watching the collapse of the Soviet Union. Realizing as the Rolling Stone political reporter, like a prestigious job on the left, that the Russiagate story was a hoax. His instincts from day one were like, this is BS. Mm-hmm. I don't buy it. He gets pushed out of Rolling Stone for that. So he's obsessed. He's obsessed with it. And in the process of uncovering that, this episode uncovers this super Orwellian, creepy apparatus about how they want to control not just what we think, but how we think. And that's the danger.
In what way?
They want to control the narrative. And, years ago, the CIA had a program called Operation Mockingbird.
Yep.
Where they would buy or intimidate or blackmail certain reporters at the
Right.
New York Times and other places to control the narrative. And back then, because it was a top-down system, they could just own the guy. Mm-hmm. And now it has become this collusion's not even the right word. It's the same thing. Like the reporters think they're part of the government. They think they're on the same team. And they voluntarily have become not even useful idiots. Like they're adjuncts.
Operatives.
They're adjuncts to the government. And that's what's scary. We have no press within the corporate press. It's all outside with things like Blaze TV. And it's a good thing we're doing it because we have no adversarial reporting except for a few dinosaurs like Taibbi.
So, what I have started to notice is that the deep state is much deeper than we thought it was. It's really well put together. I mean, it's mature. But it's pretty much the same people at the head, is it not? I mean, it seems like there's a group of maybe 20 of them that kind of are running the show. They've got others beneath them, but there's a small group that is really in charge.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
My tinfoil hat has become a helmet because the conspiracy is vast. And by the way, the operators love to call us conspiratorial because that's the classic government smear when someone actually gets to the truth. And it is. And the whole thesis of this project, the cover-up, was to link the COVID industrial complex to the military industrial complex. And Dr. Ebright in the last episode exposes that it was actually Dick Cheney that tapped Anthony Fauci to run this entire operation.
That was a great episode.
And all of this censorship industrial complex also is born out of the so-called war on terror and all of the trampling of rights and speech that we did. And, eventually going after terrorists became going after Americans. And that's what the lesson and why you have to expose all this stuff is that whenever we give government power, and I would say this about the Trump administration too, when we expand government power in any way, you should always expect it to be turned on you by another administration in the future in ways that you can't anticipate. And that's what's happened with this. The apparatus, the sophistication of this whole system is evolved in a way that allows these deep state, gray-suited Soviet bureaucrats, names we don't even know, to control every aspect of our lives.
Let me play a clip from this. This is featuring Matt Taibbi. Listen.
You're also a bit of a dinosaur, if you will, because you're an actual journalist. There aren't that many of them anymore, and reporters have become useful idiots.
It's worse than that. I think they're essentially proxies for the national security apparatus. All of media went through this ship.
It was a fake story.
The Trump campaign colluded with Russia.
It was particularly the Russiagate story.
A U.S. financed accident that came out of Wuhan.
Believing the science.
Operation Mockingbird on steroids.
When we looked at these censorship programs, we realized they were trying to re-engineer how people thought.
This is a terrifying episode.
It really is. It really is, but we end up talking about things like Taibbi's platform on Substack, like The Blaze, and all of these independent journalists, Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson. Joe Rogan individually is probably bigger, according to Taibbi, than the entire corporate press combined. And that's the upside of the downside. That's why they try to cancel us, right? Because they can't buy us, they can't intimidate us. Taibbi talks about how the IRS shows up on his doorstep the day that he's testifying in front of Jim Jordan's committee. That's kind of on the nose, right?
Yeah, kind of on the nose.
Yeah.
Kind of. Why haven't we repealed the law that Obama put in that made propaganda on the American people legal again? I mean, we repealed that right after World War II, and Biden put it. I don't even remember covering that. Do you remember covering that? How they made propaganda legal again. I don't even remember when they did it, back in 2008, 2009. And nobody really knows that. I mean, that is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And why haven't we repealed that?
I don't know. I hope that Republicans use this opportunity to go after things like this. Because if we don't root it out, and we were talking earlier about rooting out the bad guys, I still want to know who Fauci's boss is. I have theories. It's probably the head of the intelligence agencies that were really calling the shots on this. But if Republicans don't go after,
what does that mean? What does that mean? Who's that?
It was and still is. Who's the head of the CIA now? It's.
I remember. I used to know this stuff.
Yeah.
Look it up, will you, Stu?
Yeah, that guy.
That guy, the head of the CIA. You think the CIA is?
I think ultimately the head of Homeland Security, the head of the CIA, the head of the DOD, these are Fauci's bosses. And supposedly the good guys are in charge now. So are they going to go after it? Are they going to rip it out, root and branch, to make sure that we don't do this again? Because it can be used for whatever crisis they want to create.
I don't remember what politician it was, but I asked him one time off the air. I said, when are we going to get a president who says this deep state stuff, all this spying on American people, it's got to stop right now. Pull it all up. And this guy looked at me like I was a little baby. And he was like, "Oh, really? Oh, I remember. I was cute when I was your age too, thinking things like that." And he said, "No president will ever do it." He said, because when they get into the office, here's the choice they're given: Mr. President, you don't have any information on the American people. However, every other country on earth has all of this information on the American people. Are you going to be the only one blind? Are you the only one that's going to fly blind on what's happening in your own country?"
Yeah.
And it was a compelling case. I mean, I still would say, yeah, because Constitution says fly blind. But I don't see anybody willing to give up this kind of power because they'll think they'll use it the right way.
Right. And the hope, and we talk about this in the episode, the hope is that because Trump himself was targeted by this apparatus, because Tulsi Gabbard was specifically targeted by this apparatus, because RFK Jr. and Jay Bhattacharya, the list is long, right?
Yeah.
All of these guys were specifically targeted by the Biden administration and the Obama administration before that. The lesson, hopefully, is that when President Trump's worst enemy takes the White House, that's going to happen someday. I have this wild theory that someday the Democrats will win the White House.
Oh, that's a crazy theory.
I know. It's
I have a
crazy
theory it could be in 3 years. I hope to God not, but it could be. I mean, the backlash is going to be.
Yeah, you should think about your worst enemy having those reins of power and what they will do to President Trump's family. You should think about that sort of stuff. And they have an opportunity. They have a window. And maybe
what they're going to do to my family. Yeah,
maybe it's just 2 years that we have. So we got to do it.
How do you feel about what we're seeing in the Tulsi Gabbard and the FBI releasing all of the files on Russiagate? What John Solomon released yesterday about a whistleblower, Democrat whistleblower, saying Adam Schiff, he announced in a staff meeting he was going to release classified information to smear Donald Trump on this. And when I pointed out, no, you can't do that, he said, don't worry, we're never going to go to jail.
Right.
Right. Are we getting any closer? Are we just spinning our wheels again?
I am very optimistic about what Tulsi Gabbard is doing. To my earlier point, she is now like a pit bull with a bone. She's going to get to this. She's going to need the Justice Department on her side. Same with Rand Paul. Rand Paul is now the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, and he is another dog with a bone. He's not going to let go of this. But we're going to need the Justice Department to start putting people in jail.
You see that happening?
Not now, I don't. Not now.
I've said I was going to give him a year before I start coming down harsh on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a lot.
Nope. And that's why the public has to get involved. I think the only way to do this, and President Trump has always operated this way. Public opinion of his community, his base, his supporters, it matters, and we need to be loud about it. And some people pick on me because I'm still talking about COVID lockdowns and the cover up, but we have to understand that this is so much bigger than that catastrophic event. It's about the machine.
That is the worst violation of rights in my lifetime. What do you mean, this little thing, COVID? There's nothing that compares to it. I mean, it is probably the biggest violation of American rights since we rounded the Japanese up and put them in internment camps.
I think that's right. It's bigger than the Patriot Act and all the liberties we lost in response to the attack on the Twin Towers. And I want so many people just want to move on, but I don't want them to move on.
You can't.
We got to overcome that, though, because I feel that sometimes.
Right.
I mean, we went through it. We talked about it every single day, but I feel like it's sometimes, man, I don't want to bring myself back into that moment. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to move on. How do you get people to actually focus on it?
Well, it's understanding that the same people and the same machine that weaponized the Russiagate story and covered up the Hunter Biden laptop story are the same people and the same apparatus that forced you to get vaccinated against your will, that forced you to stay in your homes, that forced you to give up your job, that forced you to not go to church. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine your worst nightmare about what happens next. That's what matters.
Thank you for thinking for yourself and being part of a movement, because that's really what all of this is. If you want the full story, you want to go deeper, go to blazetv.com/Glenn. Go there right now, sign up, no interruptions, just the truth, uncensored and unfiltered. Don't just watch, take a stand. And I'll see you over there in a minute.